So, friends, supporters, doulas, families, children, parents, people who love and know Open Arms, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to our 20th birthday party, our annual spring luncheon for Open Arms. Welcome. Thank you all so much for coming. My name is Ian Lindsay. Oh, there we go. My name is Ian Lindsay, and I get to be the MC this afternoon. And as you can see, I am very blessed to have a 1-year-old who lives in my house, and sometimes my bed. That is a picture of my wife and our daughter. Our daughter's name is Marin, and her birthday was just 2 weeks ago. And I do want to just say we were so fortunate to have a doula during Marin's birth process. And I know that you all know that doulas are like magical people, but there was a moment where it really came to me where I understood how magical doulas are. Because Emily was in the midst of labor and she was uncomfortable. And Emily is a person who is about half my size. And our doula was fully my size. And Emily was very uncomfortable, and the doula walked over to Emily, and she said, just don't move. And she put her hands on Emily's shoulder and hip, and she fully leaned all of her weight down into Emily into the bed. Something I would never do for fear of damaging my smaller wife. And Emily just totally relaxed. It was the most amazing thing. It was like some doula magic. And I tried to do it a couple of hours later, and Emily said, go get the doula. So anyway, doulas, we are so grateful to have you here. And all of you, supporters, friends of Open Arms, thank you for being here today at our 20th birthday year of this community-based program where we together celebrate our community and our resilience. So we hope you are ready to feel the love. And also hope you are ready to give some love. Because there is a group of people, a group of organizations without whom we could not do what we do. So on behalf of Open Arms, would you please express deep gratitude to our amazing sponsors. Our birth sponsor, Health Connect One. Would you give them a big round of applause? Thank you. And our parenting sponsors, AmeriGroup, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and Eastside Maternal Fetal Medicine. Would you give them a big round of applause? Our newborn nurturers, the Arcora Foundation at Delta Dental, Bastyr University Department of Midwifery, the Casey Family Programs, Molina Healthcare of Washington, and PEPS. Would you give them a big round of applause? And also the amazing, generous support of all of these incredible friends. Would you give them all a big round of applause? We could not do it without them. Of course, we are particularly grateful to a group of dedicated people that really tirelessly make Open Arms happen. Would you, if you are a board member, will you please wave and be acknowledged? Board members, we could not do it without you. Will you give these people a big round of applause? Thank you, members of our board. And of course, the people who have really brought us all here together. Table captains. Would you give the table captains a big round of applause? And would you wave, table captains? We are so grateful. Thank you for bringing us all here. So I see that most of you are already sharing lunch, and I hope you will continue to do that. If you have not yet, if you're so polite, overly polite, don't be so polite. Please help each other to some lunch. And as you are sharing lunch with each other and breaking bread and meeting each other, I know that many people in this room know each other well. In fact, many people in this room know each other really intimately. So you may be sitting with people that you know very, very well. But I invite you to introduce yourself to anyone you don't know. And if you do know everyone at your table very well, maybe answer this question. How has your community showed up for you this week? When you think of that, how has your community showed up for you this week? So please enjoy the company at your table, and we'll be back with the next part of our program in just a few minutes. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Okay, I know I asked you to engage in what could be a very deep, meaningful, long conversation. And I hope that you have begun such deep, meaningful, long conversations, and I hope you will then continue them not right this moment. Don't lose the thread. Pick it up later. But now I get to introduce someone that I know many of you are well familiar with. She became executive director in 2015, and with a small but mighty staff, she has helped guide Open Arms as we are on the move. She is a quiet, stubborn leader. I'm not sure which of those is more dominant, but both are true. She is so proud to represent a fierce and unique mission. She was just named as one of Parent Map's Heroes of the Year for 2018, which just is because she is so passionate about Open Arms. In the words of her staff, she is the only person that is sure to have dessert with every single meal. Would you please give a warm welcome to the Executive Director of Open Arms, Dila Pereira, ladies and gentlemen. Here she is.
Hi, everybody. How's it going? So I just have to say, we have the best people. I realized last night, as I was reading all these emails about, I'm so excited to sit with so-and-so, or could you please put me with so-and-so, that about a quarter of you were at the birth of the children of another quarter of you. And so when we say that we're your family and that we have a very intimate relationship between different people in the audience, that's extremely true. I just want to thank you again for coming today, and I wanted to start by honoring our presence on Duwamish land today. We also want to say hello to our youngest VIPs in the room. We have a lot of people in high chairs and being swaddled and in different stages of being carried around, and we are really happy you're here, and feel free to make your voices known. If you find a balloon on your chair, it's our way of honoring you because you have done things to support Open Arms, sometimes over several years, sometimes significantly in the last few months, and we just want to say thank you. I want to just take a minute also to thank all the midwives and providers who are here. We have so many midwives in particular here today. You are the best birth partners we could ever ask for. You have always been there to catch Open Arms, and we have your back. And we are especially honored to feature Puget Sound Birth Center in the video that we're going to show you later today. So, a lot has happened in the last year. And I know there have been times when our collective resolve and strength has felt tested. At Open Arms, we now walk to work under signs that remind us that our building is a sanctuary site in a time of heightened immigration rates. We felt the anxiety and trauma come off from our clients in waves. And yet, what I've learned from working with Open Arms is that every time we see a new baby, our hope is renewed. And as I was thinking about what to say yesterday, I was thinking, what is resilience if not the ability to regrow that hope? After something traumatic has happened, or after you've had to accommodate some force or change or trauma in your life. Our families are survivors. They're survivors of forced migration, of homelessness, intergenerational trauma, racism, and poverty. We remind them how to advocate for themselves at their most vulnerable moments, so that once they tap into that power, they know how to advocate for themselves for the rest of their lives. To our clients, we represent community and reflect back the resilience that they all have deep inside. So we shed some tears, we roll up our sleeves, we bear down, and we keep on going on. Together this year, our staff stepped up. And in the last year, Open Arms served over 300 pregnant and parenting people and helped to welcome over 300 babies into our community, more than ever before. So in 2017, we showed some of our greatest successes. And yes, we're very proud of them. We had our greatest success in reducing C-sections that we've ever had, and in increasing breastfeeding. Breastfed babies are healthier and their brains grow faster, and fewer C-sections means less health risks and a quicker recovery. And for a new parent who has limited time off or support, avoiding a C-section allows them to literally stand on their own as quickly as possible. This all means healthier babies and thriving families. Because how children succeed in kindergarten and the world beyond has everything to do with how they thrive when they enter the world. We are proof that you can be community-based and have excellent outcomes. It is my pleasure to announce that Open Arms is now funded by Best Starts for Kids, to expand our community-based outreach doula program. And by the way, thank you to all of you, because Best Starts for Kids is a public levy that the citizens of King County voted for. So actually, thank you to all of you who also voted to improve services and prevention for families between 0 to 24. Now, Open Arms is funded by the city, the county, and the state for the first time. We are part of the safety net and a trusted advocate for equity in all we do. And I'm proud to say that we're also becoming an auntie as we help people in the Somali, Indigenous, as well as within the queer, trans, people of color communities to replicate our special approach. So on a wall in our office, we have a whiteboard that notes the months of the year. Every time our caseload for a month is full, we have to write a big F. And when people call to seek services in that month, we unfortunately have to tell them that we're full, and then we do our best to find another doula who's qualified to support them. Right now, we are already full until June. Your support is what allows us to reach as many clients as need us, and to answer the phone and to be able to say, yes, we can help you. Your gifts are what allow us to stay responsive and innovative, and to pay our staff a living wage. As we grow, we are still that feisty nonprofit. Our values of respect, family, and justice are critical to who we are. We are able to decline opportunities that don't align with those values because of the support of people like you. We are asking for your support earlier this year so we can put our resources towards serving more clients and less time at fundraising events. And support earlier this year is really helpful because it helps us to know how many people we can serve as soon as possible. So a couple weeks ago, like many of you, I watched an 11-year-old girl named Naomi Waddler give a speech in front of nearly 1 million people at the March for Our Lives. She bravely read the names of Black women and girls who were the victims of gun violence, who she felt hadn't been represented in the national discourse in our communities. Women like Charlena Lyles, who was pregnant when she was shot 7 times, and a mother to several children in our own community. So I get so emotional when I saw her speak, and when I see these young people and I heard their remarks, because they are so articulate, and they are so poised, and they are so inclusive in a way that takes so many years to learn. And then I started thinking about the fact that, you know, some of these kids, they're 11, they're 17, they're 18, and Open Arms is 20 years old. And that means that some of our oldest babies are 20 years old. That means that our babies, some of the 3,000 babies that Open Arms has helped to bring in the world with a loving hand, are the ones that are out there. that are marching on the streets, that are raising up the signs, who are including other people and are ready to change the world and won't take no for an answer. And Dr. Ben Danielson once said about Open Arms that we are the nurturing insurgency and a loving revolution. And these young people, they are the loving revolution. So each of you are partners in building community, resilience, and in that loving revolution. So thank you for being here today.
There we go. Can we give one more round of applause to Dila and all of the Open Arms staff? Thank you. Thank you, Dila. It's so great to hear that things are happening, that the safety net is improving and growing, and to think about those now 20-year-old activists, resistance, revolutionaries. That's the word you use. Loving revolutionaries. I love it. So it's really wonderful to get to have this chance to gather today, and it is a little bit unique for the first time this year. We have, as many people know, had an annual auction in the past, and we have also had this annual luncheon. We have decided to combine those events into this annual luncheon. So the auction, if you're like waiting for your invitation to the auction and you're wondering why it hasn't arrived in your mail, it's because it's not happening. But you are here today because today is happening. So we have had some traditions at the auction that we did not want to lose, including, and perhaps importantly, we have honored every year an awardee with our Leoben Egal Spirit Award. So we are going to present this year's Leoben Egal Spirit Award winner now, and I'm going to actually, Dila, I know you're heading back to lunch, but I'm actually going to have you come back if that's okay. Dila is going to tell you about our award winner. Here she is. Thank you.
So, Hawa, if you could come up, and also Eula. So the Leoben Egal Spirit Award honors an outreach doula of exceptional integrity and strength, whose impact lives on. We honor her by lifting up another champion who has always used her voice to advocate for others. Alyssa Wehrman has helped bring over 40 babies for Open Arms into the world out of a sense of social justice and responsibility. She has challenged some of the biggest systems in our community with quiet resolve. Please welcome Leoben's sister Hawa and Open Arms Outreach Doula, as well as Alyssa's client with Open Arms, Eula Scott Bino, to present this award.
Hey everyone, so I'm Eula Scott Bino, and this is Livingston, Tyree Scott Bino. He might say something as well. Alyssa, you're the one. Alyssa is the most amazing person I might have ever met, you guys. So I am a doula, and I've been doing it for a handful of years. And I know that a lot of people in this room have known her much longer than the 3.5 I have. But in that really short period of time, she's changed my life. Alyssa was my mentor when I was a doula, and she helped me attend my first birth and figure out what the hell I was trying to do, because I didn't know what I was doing with my life in a lot of ways. Alyssa has been my friend, and she has listened to me rant about a million other things that just supported me in them. And then Alyssa has been my doula, and at my birth of my son, she was there in the most amazing capacity. Go ahead. He is. But so one of the things that I wanted to make sure I touched on is that I've told this story before, so if you've heard it before, I'm sorry. When the first time I met Alyssa, you guys, was the day that Mike Brown had passed away. And I had held it together all day and then lost it. I mean, I really lost it in front of her. And I didn't know her, and I didn't plan on doing it. But we sat down together, and my first thought when she walked in was, she's so petite. How in the world is she going to, manage this giant black woman? right? And we were sitting in a cafe trying to have a casual conversation, and a flood of folks walked by rallying against this injustice. And I lost it, and she held me, and she saw me as human, and she took care of me in a way that no one had all day. And I know a bunch of people. Right? And so I think about I think about Alyssa always as one person that I think knows what she's doing, and if we all just get on board and behind her and support her, then we're gonna end up in the right place. So Alyssa, just thanks for everything. Tell me what you need me to do whenever. You have any closing words? I can't see his face, you guys can. Alyssa Wareham, you're the best. You're the best example of caring, loving, showing up, and doing what people say they want to do on a daily basis but can't figure out the right steps to make. I appreciate you, and to a room full of white women, I know you all are great, but if you want to be even greater, just ask Alyssa how to do it. Alyssa, get up here. Get these awards. Say, come on down, doula. Say, come on down, my doula. Say, come on down, my doula. Woo!
Hey. Thank you so much, Eula. Open arms and members of my community, I feel so grateful and honored to be recognized by you with this award. Leoben was a loving and a graceful person who I had the honor of knowing, and I'm so humbled to be recognized in her name and alongside the past recipients, who some of them are in this room too. This is deeply meaningful as well for me, because as I end my 17-year career, I've got 5 more due dates. I'm counting down. I'm moving on to the world of social work. Thank you. This is a way for me to have some closure to this time in my life. So, Open Arms has been a central part of my life as a doula, and I've learned some really tough lessons along the way through them, mostly. My growth as a doula, as a social justice activist, and as a compassionate human being has largely been because of Open Arms' involvement in it, and the Open Arms folks whom I've called mentors and colleagues along the way, as well as the many resilient and loving families that I've doulaed for and who have trusted in me. They have all modeled nuance and grace and strength and humility, and I continue to aspire towards those qualities. So thank you all. When the most marginalized in our communities are thriving, then we are all thriving. I want to speak directly to my fellow white cisgender women working towards social justice. Stop being so nice. There's no time for it, and for you or for the families that you're going to serve. Speak up, use your power, question people, question policies. You're going to piss some people off in this work, and who cares? Stop worrying about it. Listen, learn, repair if needed, and just keep going. You can be graceful, you can be respectful. But as Sheila Kapustani once told me, be impatient. Find your voice, find your way. It doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be loud. Don't wait for acknowledgement. Roll up your sleeves and just get to work. So in the words of Lila Watson, this is a quote that's been very meaningful for me in the last few years, and I came to know it through Social Justice Fund Northwest, who I've done who I've done a lot of work with, and has been instrumental for me too. Lila Watson was an Aboriginal activist. I actually am not sure whether or not Lila is still alive, but I said was. Okay. If you've come here to help me, you're wasting your time. But if you've come here because your liberation is bound up with mine, then let us work together. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Alyssa, thank you so much, Alyssa. Inspiring. I know that many of you have been excited about this next part of our lunch together. And I now get to introduce another amazing person in this room full of amazing people. This person that I am about to introduce, or I'm introducing, is a community activist, a political strategist, a community educator. She is a reproductive justice advocate. She manages the Progress Alliance of Washington's grant-making equity work. She's been active in the hashtag Block the Bunker and hashtag No New Youth Jail movements. She's a founding board member of the Surge Reproductive Justice Collaborative. In 2017, she was appointed as interim Seattle City Council member for position 8, where she brought community voices to the table. She and her husband have raised their 2 children in South Seattle and Hillman City. And I have been told on occasion she can rock a karaoke duet. She is a fearless advocate friend with a formidable heart and mind. Dila says, mark my words, you will be hearing her name for many years to come. And now we are so grateful to hear her words right now. Would you please welcome our keynote speaker, Kirsten Harris-Talley, ladies and gentlemen. Kirsten, we invite you. Hi.
Thank you so much. I am so honored to be here today. I don't know if everyone here knows Dila. I've known Dila many years now. And you could ask me anything, and I'd say yes. I was going to come up here and put this entire mic into my mouth. But Livingston stole my move. It's all good, bro. So I wanted to really talk about, I think, what's at the root of so much that is about resilience and community and everyone in this room. And that's ultimately love. I know every person in this room, when you became a parent, when you helped someone become a parent, when you helped someone grieve the hope of becoming a parent, when that wasn't there, which I've had folks in this room help me grieve those moments as well. I have 2 amazing children with my husband, but we've had 4 pregnancies, and 2 of those pregnancies did not last for us. And to have a doula and a midwife by my side through those is also part of what the resilience in my life has been, and the story of what my life and my family has been. And all of that is oriented around love. This is my husband, Jason. We'll have been together 18 years this July, and our daughter, Cora, who's 6. and our son Malcolm, who's 2, and our long-suffering dog Lucinda. And I am very blessed to have had 2 really unique birth experiences that I'm going to share with you today. My first birth taught me so deeply what it was to build community in a really profound way. And my second birth really taught me of what it is to have that community, so that I found myself with the resilience and strength that I needed to see that birth through. I find myself in this orientation around love because every morning when I wake up, my alarm clock is NPR in the morning, and every story has been very hard in the mornings. I find myself waking up, it seems, to something new that is not a conversation about love. It's a conversation about struggle, it's a conversation about oppression, and then those glimmer of hope moments about what it is for folks to stand up and say no to that. Literally standing up. The teacher protests happening this last week, the Me Too movement, folks saying not this time, what it's looked like in Washington State to have the largest Black, Brown, and Native coalition bring forward De-Escalate Washington, so that we have now police accountability that's now a model for the entire country of what it means when Black people center their power and win. And all of it comes back to love. Hundreds of hours dedicated for little pay and lots of love. I live in Columbia City, Hillman City neighborhood. My husband and I, South End love, for real. And my husband and I were very lucky. We're right by Seattle Home Maternity. And I know. I don't know if on purpose you sat Heather here or not, but we know each other very well. Yeah, I know, everybody's right here. And, you know, I was very blessed. I had health insurance. I had a job where I knew I was going to be able to have the kind of birth experience and care that I wanted. I was also very blessed that my mother, I'm the oldest of 4, had had the types of births she wanted. And had strength of her stories of a natural birth. And still it was something of anxiety. I'm a very type A personality. My husband jokes that now that I've married him, I'm type A- personality, so I'm getting better. And what I found myself is, for the first time in my life, really, I was doubting myself and whether I knew what was going to happen. And Jason and I were very lucky. We got to take our birthing classes with Penny Simpkin. And one of the things she talks about is pain with purpose. And I thought about that a lot. I really meditated on that a lot. And I've meditated on that a lot when I'm waking up in the morning on NPR and seeing what's happening with the world. And I think there's a lot of lessons from birth experience of what it is when things feel out of your control and what it is to find your central locus of control. And I like to think that right now our world is going through a transition, some sort of new birth, something new and exciting on the other side, which is what social justice work is. It's imagining of something new that we haven't seen yet. And with that, right now I think we're going through a moment of pain, but pain with purpose. My daughter was born almost all the way at home. I found myself waking up at 1:32. My husband had never gotten dressed so fast in his life in the morning. And my mother was there. My mother had arrived literally the day before. And I found myself walking in circles and getting into my rhythm. And totally organically, my mantra ended up being, okay. I was sort of just saying this mantra to myself that everything was going to be okay. And at a certain moment, I was like, I want to go to the birth center now. And when we got there, Tracy was my midwife with my first birth. Folks were like, oh, you've been doing this about 3 or 4 hours, probably. And then they checked and they're like, you're having a baby right now. And I was like, okay. And I don't know if everyone has been to the birth space at Seattle Home Maternity. I love it. It's this lovely space. It's downstairs. It's cool. It's quiet. It was so early in the morning. There were no noises but the birds outside. And I had this moment, that moment of doubt, which I now know is part of the birthing process, that moment of doubt. And I had found myself, I was naturally getting down on my knees to birth, and they said, we need you to move to the bed. And I was like, oh no, I can't do that. I can't. And I meant it. I was like, I cannot do that. That is not happening. And my mother, and Tracy, my midwife, and Rebecca, my doula, all three of them put their loving hands on me and did what I couldn't do in that moment. And they lifted me up and they put me on that bed. And only a few minutes later, my daughter was born. So this is me and Jason with my daughter. My friend's favorite, on my shoulder, it's sort of hard to see, but there's a teeny tiny dot of blood on my shoulder, which my friend thinks is just so cute. She's like, you should get a tattoo, like right there, to remember that. I find myself often thinking of that birth story because everything aligned just the way I wanted it to. And what a blessing to have my first birth experience be that. And what a blessing to have all the privilege and options that I had for that to be the case. And then I found myself going through the experience of a miscarriage. And when that happened, I felt very alone. And then I found myself talking to other women, and I was not alone. In fact, most of the women in my life, including my own mother, had had that experience and never had spoken about it, had never told the story. And so I found myself talking to dozens of women I knew who were able to share their story of what that experience was and what it was to find resilience through that, and to find the confidence again, and to find themselves pregnant again, and that happened for us. My pregnancy was very easy with my son, and I had, because of how wonderful my first birth experience, really thought I had everything under control and I was going to be at work and I was going to do all these things. And then I find myself on a Thursday afternoon at a meeting, and I stood up from the meeting at 4:30 during rush hour downtown, and my water had broken. And my sister was going to be my doula for that birth. We'd gone through a whole series of classes together. She was in Queen Anne, I was downtown. My husband was in South Seattle picking up my daughter from preschool at the time. And I called Heather. And I said, my water broke. We had planned a home birth that time because the birth center had been so let's do it at home. And then I found myself calling about 30 minutes later, and my contractions were already 3 minutes apart. And there was a sound in Heather's voice, which was a full confidence, but also there might be a plan B option here. And so I found a friend had joined me and stayed with me, luckily, after the meeting, because I was like, I'm good, I'm gonna walk, I'm gonna catch the bus, and my sister's gonna meet me, and then I'm gonna go home. And my friend's like, well, I'll just hang out with you till, that happens. And luckily, she stayed, because what I found was that I could not get out of the downtown core during rush hour on a Thursday afternoon. I had gotten in a cab, could not move for 2 blocks, then got on transit, where my husband knew he was not going to be able to get in touch with me for 15 minutes while I was underground. Got a cheer on from the bus crew, which was really fun. And then found myself right by the intersection by Uwajimaya. So you know where that beautiful cement plaza is? Literally that day, you cannot make this up, that building, the Publix building that's now this beautiful renovated historic building, literally being bulldozed and dust flying, like literally being bulldozed. And my friend and I came out, and Heather was on the phone, and I knew, because of my first birth experience and how in tune with my body I'd been, I was like, I'm gonna have this baby right now. And I'm standing outside in front of Uwajimaya during rush hour. There was a Bolt bus filling up for Portland. And I called Heather, and my demeanor was calm, but inside I was red alert, and I said, I don't know what to do. And just as with my first birth experience, when those 3 women had put their hands on me and helped me, she said, you have a plan B. We're gonna do plan B. You're a heartbeat away from Swedish Hospital on First Hill, and you're gonna go there, and we're all gonna go there. Now, in the meantime, what I didn't know was that behind the scenes, every person in my community, my sister, both my sisters, my husband, Heather, my friend, were all texting and calling each other through the reroute that was what ended up being less than 90 minutes from start to finish my birth with my son. The contrast of my birth with my son was that because I was taken to Swedish hospital, and really my plan had been to have this home birth with the midwives and my sister as my doula and all of that, I found myself all of a sudden in this circumstance that I wasn't expecting. I remember being pulled into triage, and my son was literally crowning when I was brought into triage. And a nurse came up to me and she looked in my eyes and she said, "You have to stop." Right? Because for her, I've just been wheeled in and she's trying to assess the situation, and I was like, oh no, this isn't gonna stop, which is that other thing with birth, right? There's a moment where it's like, this is out of my control, this is happening now. And luckily my friend was there, my friend who is childless by choice, who always said, oh, births are icky, bawling, of course, like, now I wanna be a doula, this is just a transformative moment. But I found myself in a hospital room, and my son, or my husband rather, and our daughter came in, and my daughter was like, we've been waiting for you. I was like, I know you have. And so this is us. Malcolm is, I think, literally a few minutes old, and the first thing Cora did is what she did every day while I was pregnant. So she came next to her brother and sang Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And so we had just finished singing. But what was interesting is when I found myself in this new place, in this new experience of a hospital experience, everything was different than what I had hoped and dreamed for. We had redone our birthing classes. And there was this moment in the birthing class where we sculpted our hope and dream for our birth. And then our instructor told us, I don't know if people experience this, to literally crush the sculpture that we had just made. And I was like, oh, what a fun exercise. But that's at the time. But that was literally the experience of my second birth. I had a dream and a hope there. And what I found myself in that moment was having to rely on my community again in a new way. They wanted to have us at the hospital for at least 3 days because of the circumstances around my son's birth and the fact that we were by plumes of dirt when he was practically born on the sidewalk. And so we were there in this new place with very different processes than I was expecting. And I found myself constantly advocating for myself. And it was reflexive and in the moment, but in hindsight, I don't know that I could have done that. I don't know that I could have persevered through the birth that I had had if it hadn't been for the community I'd had around me and the birth experience I'd had for the first time. And the strength that a doula had given me to understand my body, to understand the cues, to believe myself about what I needed, and to communicate that. If I hadn't had that in my first birth experience, I don't know that I would have had the resilience I had in my second birth experience. And what I did not expect from my second birth experience is that I found myself later having this beautiful baby and grieving the birth that I thought I was going to have. Grieving, I get emotional thinking about it, the fact that my sister was going to be with me when he was born. And instead, everyone was in rush hour traffic trying to get to me, and my husband wasn't in the room. He had to grieve that. He wasn't in the room when my son was born. And he said to me, will he know that it was different for his sister? I was there. And his were literally the first hands that touched her when she was born, and I couldn't even be in the same building he was in when he was born. What's that gonna be like? And so what we found ourselves in was talking again to our community, reaching back out to them. And the reflections from that birth experience for me is something I've been sitting myself in. In a new Trump era, where there's assaults every moment, I had such a wave of relief to hear people say resist. I had not experienced the civil rights movement myself, but being a Black woman, the legacy of what that was active, seen, acknowledged resistance all the time. And all of a sudden, people that I didn't know had that in them in their history were saying, we're gonna resist. And what did it mean for those of us who just in existing have to resist? And there are a lot of us. And that's what I experienced in my hospital experience. I was in a stance of resistance in a lot of what was happening there, just because the system wasn't actually made for the way that I wanted to experience my birth. And for lots of people, it is made for the way they want to experience their birth, but it wasn't the fit for me. And so for those of us who have found ourselves in resistance all the time, now we find ourselves in resilience. What is it now to really hang on? And that's where I need the folks who are like resisting right now to go to the folks in resilience right now and acknowledge how heavy this burden is, because we've been carrying it for a long, long time. And I need you to follow our lead. That is necessary in this moment. And the only way that we're going to get through resistance and resilience to reliance is to build trust between the two of those things. In many ways, we have a unique opportunity right now to repair ills that we have had in our culture a very long time. The things we didn't say because we've been too nice. The things we didn't say because we were worried about the discomfort. We now have no choice but to say them and to acknowledge them and to do something about changing them. And if we can do that together and recognize that our culture has been siloed and segregated intentionally, and that we're going to have to build bridges of trust to get to reliance on each other, to build the kind of intentional community we need to get on the other side of this, I think we're going to look back at this time and actually have a lot of gratitude for what we built because of it. And so for me, that brings me back to how we have to center love. I'm very lucky that I have been part of the Open Arms family for a very long time. And even the name, Open Arms, what a beautiful thing to call yourself. It's an action. It's a choice, Open Arms. It's saying to someone else, I see you, and I'm open to whatever you're going to bring forward, and we're going to figure it out together. And I think that that is really important in this moment. Deela and I serve together on a board, and many of our board folks are in the room as well, with Surge Reproductive Justice Collaborative. And this year, in collaboration with Open Arms, the Hero Table, which I know some heroes are in the room as well, and the Midwives Association of Washington, we also passed another wonderful landmark decision in the legislature, which means that now midwives and doulas are going to be able to give care to those who find themselves birthing while incarcerated. Not very long ago, we had to fight just for folks to not have to wear shackles while they were birthing while incarcerated. And now they're going to have those open arms come into where they find themselves, separated from the rest of us, and have the kind of wraparound care and services and love that they need to see their birth through. And I know that wouldn't be possible without Open Arms. Open Arms is the first call, as that policy was coming together in the legislature, that was made to start organizing that work, which speaks to the fact that folks understand that this is a place that's going to bring folks together to build that resilience and reliance that we need to move forward. So I want to say thank you to every person in this room who works with your love and your open arms open every day. And I want to thank Open Arms for 20 years of what you've given us. And I thank you all so much.
Kirsten, Harris-Talley, everyone. Thank you, Kirsten. We're so blessed with an abundance of stories today. And there's another very important story that we've spent some time putting together. So if you would turn your attention to one of the screens, we have something we'd love for you to see.
My name is Memory Gladstone. I am a community-based outreach doula serving the American Indian Alaska Native community for Open Arms Perinatal Services. I grew up in a single-family home, low income, and witnessing domestic violence. Growing up with that, having trust issues, and going through being the only Indigenous person in a lot of the schools that I attended, I felt really isolated and alienated until I attended American Indian Heritage, and that was the only Indigenous school in the King County area. That's where I actually met my husband, and we ended up having our first child at about 18, 19 years old. My first birth was not ideal. I was uninformed of everything that was going on, and I knew that that wasn't right, specifically because I was young and I was Indigenous. American Indian, Alaska Natives, and African American families are 2 to 3 times more likely to lose their child than Caucasian. Open Arms has impacted me, starting off with free breastfeeding peer counseling training in 2011, and then providing the free doula training, and then providing me with a position to be able to serve my community. We are cultural based. We serve our communities, and we are leaders in our communities. We provide services to families from low-income backgrounds at no cost to the family. Trust is a huge key to just building a relationship, to me even being able to be their doula. If I didn't have that trust, I would be nowhere near welcomed into their birth. That's one of the things that's really deep in my community, is not trusting the government, not trusting, the outsiders, and the fear of losing our children. I provide services to clients prenatally. We do the birth, and then postpartumly up until the child is 2 years old, which focuses on early childhood development, literacy, education, lactation support, birth control screenings, and any other resources that they need. When I met Ebony, I knew right away that it was going to be a perfect fit.
I wanted a native doula. They said, Memory's great. And she came to my house, and, as soon as I saw her, it was like love at first sight. And we just clicked. We clicked instantaneously. She really helped me to understand how to breathe through my contractions and take it slow and focus and visualize and just take it step by step. She helped my husband understand how to support me through my labor as well, so that he knew what to do and what to expect. It was fabulous.
I feel like the piece that Memory has that not every doula has is she's just a magnificent supporter of breastfeeding. And so not only was she super loving and helpful during the birth, but she was incredibly helpful and just encouraging and skilled in that immediate postpartum time when Ebony was learning to nurse.
I had really bad postpartum depression. It was really, really hard. And, I just needed someone to support me. She was there every single week. She was coming to my house, and she would clean up for me, and she would watch the baby while I slept or took a shower.
It's so easy to put the baby first and then neglect yourself. And so when you have that support, it makes that transition a lot easier.
She really supported me there. I found my destiny through this whole experience working with these women.
Ebony wanted to serve the community. She said she wanted to make a difference in the community like I was doing. I was like, hey, there's a lack of lactation consultants in our community, and there is a need. And so Ebony is on her way to obtain her lactation certification.
I was like, I can do that, It's like, this is for me.
I was able to connect her with Cami Goldhammer, who's the only Native lactation consultant here in Washington State.
I feel very strongly that those of us who have had the privilege of providing maternity care in all its different iterations in the Puget Sound area really have a responsibility to serve as the nurse logs for the up and coming generation of new maternity care providers.
With the support of an Open Arms Perinatal Services doula, the families are able to know what to expect, handle the stresses better, and that helps the family thrive and build healthier families. Without the support from our funders, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing today, and I would not be able to serve the people that I'm serving today.
Nothing's gonna stop me from being a lactation consultant, a breastfeeding peer counselor, a trained doula. I'm gonna get out there and I'm gonna help my community, and I'm gonna help these women to have the same experience that I had and better. I love it.
And now, would you welcome Memory and Ebony and her son Aurelie to the stage? Here they are. And I would also like to invite all of the Open Arms staff doulas to come on stage right now so we can recognize you. All of the Open Arm doulas, come. We need to see you. This is the team. These are the people that make it happen. These tiara-wearing folks. Come, yeah, sure, you're in training, I know. Come up. We're gonna invite them all. And as they're coming up, Ebony has some words she'd like to share with you.
Hi. I just want to say really quick, I am greatly humbled by the result of my experience, and I obviously cannot bring to justice in all its glory how much memory and open arms means to me and all young women of color today. Memory was amazing for me. She never left my side through my postpartum depression. She was there at my home every week for the first year that my son, after he was born for the first year, she was at my home every single week supporting me. We bonded deeply on a spiritual level, and her wisdom, gentleness, patience, and selfless care got me through a time where I felt completely lost in my new role. Sharing her stories and helping me heal and strengthen through the beauty in my child's light raised me up. To have another woman like that in your corner to heal with helped me find myself as a stronger woman, wife, and mama bear again. To laugh and cry with, providing every resource available for my son so I never had to carry the weight in the midst of my deepest struggles. I've never felt more empowered, in tune and aligned than to gift to the women in my Native, Indigenous, African American, and all communities of color in the future what Open Arms has gifted to me and so many other women. A much richer, stronger, and deeper sense of self, wiser confidence in my abilities as an all-natural mom, and a wholesome bond between women in our communities, knowing we are here for each other and are not alone in motherhood, left to our own devices. So please give to Open Arms as they have so gracefully given back to the young women whose lives were changed forever, mine humbly included. Thank you.
Thank you, Ebony. And can we have one more round of applause for all of our staff doulas? Thank you. They're just all support. Ebony, you should just turn around just for a second. They're all here. So, staff doulas, thank you for coming and joining us on stage. I'm going to let you go back to your seat so you don't have to stand here unless you want to stay, in which case you're more than welcome to. There is, as you all know, these are the members of our staff, but in this room, there are many more doulas. So if you are a doula of any kind, would you please, who's worked with Open Arms, would you please stand up and be recognized right now? All doulas who are here with us. All of these doulas, please, every one of them. And these doulas represent all of the doulas who've worked with us this year. The non-members of our staff, the doulas who have volunteered, have contributed pro bono services totaling more than $84,000 worth of pro bono doula services. So thank you so much. And this, brings us to this critical moment in our time together. So, table captains, would you pass out those very handy giving cards? But we're going to do something a little bit new and different that we have not done at our luncheon before. I want to ask you to hold on to that card, but don't look at it too closely. Don't get out a pen. Just hold on to the card. Because as we have done in our auction, which we are no longer doing. We want to raise these babies. We want to raise these babies and all together raise them up, and I'm going to help count them so we have some sense of what's happening. And I do want to just point out that if you are one of those generous people who has often come to both the annual luncheon and to our auction, and you are nervous that at the end of the year, your checkbook is not going to be balanced correctly because maybe you were expecting to do 2 gifts to Open Arms. In order for us to reach our significant goals, it would really help if you just do some addition. Just make those 2 gifts like one double gift, and then we can reach the goals. And our goal is really around honoring the work that so many doulas do. $84,000 worth of pro bono services. Our goal is to try to honor that gift by raising a similar amount right now. That is a very ambitious goal. Last year at the luncheon, we raised around $40,000. But we also raised more than $40,000 at the auction. So you can see how if these things come together, everything will work very well. I want to also say that if you're the kind of person who's like that type A and you're planning everything, then you can make a donation that is like monthly so that it would, every month something would happen. And maybe that helps you do something a little crazier. So I'm going to invite you to be part of this loving revolution. I'm going to ask you, as Alyssa said, to roll up your sleeves, to get to work. And more importantly, I'm going to tag what Kirsten said. She mentioned pain with purpose. I am going to ask you if you can donate, contribute to Open Arms at one of the following levels. And I'm going to tell you what they are so that you might be able to pick a level that is slightly painful, but with purpose. I'm going to ask you if you can contribute at $5,000 or $2,500 or $1,000 or $500 or $200 or $150 or some other amount under $149. And if you're able to do it at one or more of those levels, and I see some of you have not followed directions and you're already doing it, which is fine, I ask you to follow the direction and raise those babies at that moment. So is there anyone here today who might be able to blow our minds and help us with a gift of $5,000? If you can do it, please raise that baby high. We want to acknowledge your generosity. Is there anyone that might be able to do it? There is one person right there. Thank you. Thank you. If you want to stand up, there's another person. 2 people who are helping us at $5,000. Is there anybody else? Like if you're on this side of the room and you want to do it, that's okay. It's not limited to any sides of the room. Is there anyone here today who might be able to help us with a gift of $2,500? If you can do it, please hold up your hand, hold up your baby. There's one person. There's a second person. There's a third person. Don't be shy. We want to raise these babies. 3 people at least at 4 people. There's a 4th person. At 25, that's $10,000 right there for those 4 people. There's a 5th person. She's waving. Thank you. Thank you. Don't be shy. These babies need us to not be shy. And don't be so nice. We already heard. Don't be nice. Get out there. Our board members have come together to contribute significantly to Open Arms in relation to this luncheon. And they are offering this challenge. They are offering more than $10,000 of gifts. They're going to do it. And in order to honor that gift, I want to invite at least 10 of you to give $1,000. so that we can get $10,000 from our board and $10,000 from you, which would be $20,000. So are there 10 of you at least that might be able to raise a baby at 1,000? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is there 9? Is there one more 10 people right there. That's 10 people. Board, we love you. If you are able to help us with a gift of $500, would you raise your hand? Raise your baby right now. I'm going to count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. At least 20 gifts of $500. Thank you. So I told you that the board was actually giving a bunch. They were actually giving more than 10,000. It's actually closer to like 25, but I didn't want to tell you that earlier. We are hoping that 50 of you might be able to give us $200. That would be $15,000. Plus the 10 makes 25 from you, from them. That's 50 grand. So, are there 50 people that might be able to help us with $200? If you can do it, I'm going to start over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. This is a good sign. 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. She's in. That little person. 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60. Marion is number 60. Give those people a big round of applause. Thank you. If you can help us with $150, that's kind of like what we're really hoping that everybody might be able to do approximately. Of course, we want you to do whatever works for you. If you can help us with $150, would you raise your baby right now at $150? We want to count you up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I know now you're being shy. Don't be shy. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31 people at least. Give them a huge round of applause. And if you can help us with $149 or fewer dollars than that, would you all hold up your babies at the same time? Clap for all these amazing people who are supporting us. Also, you'll notice there is an opportunity for you to buy your own lunch on that form. If you would like to buy your own lunch, we would love for you to buy your own lunch. So please do that. And if you work for a company in our region that is so generous as to match your giving, please do whatever paperwork is necessary, because then we can get those resources from them. Yes. Okay. Perfect. You guys, so the board gave us $25,000, and you all just raised almost exactly $60,000, which is $85,000, which matches our doulas who have so generously done their pro bono service. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Table captains. Those pieces of paper that people are filling out are now extraordinarily valuable. Please do not lose them, misplace them, let anybody walk away with them. Gather them up, guard them, because they are, this coming year, they are the work we're going to do. Now, in honor and in celebration of our great success, there is one more person that I get to introduce. She is a community-based outreach doula with open arms, and she serves the African American community. She is here to give us one more note of gratitude. Would you please give a big round of applause to Rokia Jones, ladies and gentlemen, right here. Oh, she's bringing a special guest. Come on.
Thank you so much. Hello, hello. Can I get everyone to raise your hands and give me some spirit fingers if you've enjoyed this luncheon? Yeah! All right. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you so much for coming. Okay, you gonna say hi?
Every day.
I don't know what she said. No, Mama's turn. So I'm actually up here to share something with you. Dang it. Can I go? Me first. I only have 2 minutes. Okay, here. You hold this one. Okay. I'm going to hold this one. Okay. Thank you. So actually, I'm going to share something with you really quick that I wrote. And the original intention for it was to share with my coworkers. But we decided that it was very appropriate for today. I walk with mothers holding many hands. Need to get better at asking who will hold mine. The work is internal, so the external can shine. And I think the biggest thing that I want to pull out of that is thank you all for coming today and holding our hand. That's what this support means for us. And yeah, thank you so much. This has been wonderful.
Would you give Rokia and her helper one more big round of applause? Final request. Please, if you know anybody that might love a balloon today that would brighten their lives, would you please take a balloon that's attached to your chair or some other chair? We will see you next year at our luncheon. Thank you so much for coming. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.